Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam. Today we will continue reading from the book Bhakti, The Art of Eternal Love by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Śrila Prabhupāda. We're reading from page number 4, subtopic What is Bhakti? Bhakti means devotional service. Every service has some attractive feature that drives the servitor progressively on and on. Every one of us within this world is perpetually engaged in some sort of service, and the impetus for such service is the pleasure we derive from it. Driven by affection for his wife and children, a family man works day and night. A philanthropist works in the same way for the love of greater family, and a nationalist for the cause of his country and countrymen. That force which drives the philanthropist, the householder, and the nationalist is called rasa, or a kind of mellow relationship whose taste is very sweet. Bhakti rasa is a mellow different from the ordinary rasa enjoyed by mundane workers. Mundane workers labor very hard day and night in order to relish certain kind of rasa that is understood as sense gratification. The relish or taste of the mundane rasa does not long endure, and therefore mundane workers are always apt to change their position of enjoyment. A businessman is not satisfied by working the whole week. Therefore, wanting a change for the weekend, he goes to a place where he tries to forget his business activities. Then, after the weekend is spent in the forgetfulness, he again changes his position and resumes his actual business activities. Material engagement means accepting a particular status for some time and then changing it. This position of changing back and forth is technically known as bhoga tyaga, which means a position of altering sense enjoyment and renunciation. A living entity cannot steadily remain either in sense enjoyment or in renunciation. Change is going on perpetually, and we cannot be happy in either state because of our eternal constitutional position. Sense gratification does not endure for long, and it is therefore called kapala sukha, or flickering happiness. For example, an ordinary family man who works very hard every day and night and is successful in giving comforts to the member of his family thereby relishes a kind of mellow, but his whole advancement of material happiness immediately terminates along with his body as soon as his life is over. Death is therefore taken as the representative of God for the atheistic class of men. The devotee realizes the presence of God by devotional service, whereas the atheist realizes the presence of God in shape of death. At death, everything is finished, and one has to begin a new chapter of life in new situation, perhaps higher or lower than the last one. In any field of activity, political, social, national, or international, the result of our action will be finished with the end of the life. That is for sure. Bhakti Rasa, however, the mellow relished in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, does not finish with the end of life. It continues perpetually and is therefore called Amrita, that which does not die but exists eternally. This is confirmed in all Vedic literatures. The Bhagavad Gita says that a little advancement in Bhakti Rasa can save the devotee from greater danger, that of missing the opportunity to be a human being in the next life. The rasas derived from our feelings in social life, in family life, or in the greater family life of altruism, philanthropy, nationalism, socialism, communism, etc., do not guarantee that one's next life will be as a human being. We prepare our next life by our actual activities in the present life. A living entity is offered a particular type of body as a result of his action in the present body. These activities are taken into account by a superior authority known as Daiva, or the authority of God. This Daiva is explained in the Bhagavad Gita as the primary cause of everything, and in Srimad Bhagavatam it is stated that the man takes his next body by Deva Netrena, which means by the supervision of the authority of the Supreme. In an ordinary sense, Deva is explained as destiny. Deva's supervision gives us a body selected from 8,400,000 forms. The choice does not depend on our selection, but is awarded to us according to our destiny. If our body at present is engaged in activities of Krishna consciousness, then it is guaranteed that we will have at least a human body in our next life. A human being engaged in Krishna consciousness, even if unable to complete the course of Bhakti Yoga, takes birth in the higher division of human society so that he can automatically further his advancement in Krishna consciousness. Therefore, all bona fide activities in Krishna consciousness are Amrita or permanent. This is the subject matter of the Nectar of Devotion. Next subtopic: Benefits of Bhakti. This eternal engagement in Bhakti Rasa can be understood by a serious student upon studying the Nectar of Devotion. Adoption of Bhakti Rasa or Krishna consciousness will immediately bring one to an auspicious life free from anxieties and will bless one with transcendental existence, thus minimizing the value of liberation. Bhakti Rasa itself is sufficient to produce a feeling of liberation because it attracts the attention of the Supreme Lord Krishna. Generally, neophyte devotees are anxious to see Krishna or God, but God cannot be seen or known by our present material blunt senses. The process of devotional service, as it is recommended in the Nectar of Devotion, will gradually elevate one from the material condition of life to spiritual status, wherein the devotee becomes purified of all designations. The senses can then become uncontaminated, being constantly in touch with Bhakti Rasa. When the purified senses are employed in the service of the Lord, one becomes situated in Bhakti Rasa life, and any action performed by the satisfaction of Krishna in this transcendental Bhakti Rasa stage of life can be relished perpetually. When one is thus engaged in devotional service, all varieties of rasas or mellows turn into eternity. At the beginning, one is trained according to the principles of regulation under the guidance of the Acharya or spiritual master, and gradually, when one is elevated, devotional service becomes automatic and spontaneous eagerness to serve Krishna. There are 12 kinds of rasas which are explained in the Nectar of Devotion, and by renovating our relationship with Krishna in 5 primary rasas, we can live eternally in full knowledge and bliss. The basic principle of the living condition is that we have a general propensity to love someone. No one can live without loving someone else. This propensity is present in every living being. Even an animal like a tiger has this loving propensity, at least in the dormant stage, and it is certainly present in human beings. The missing point, however, is where to repose our love so that everyone can become happy. At the present moment, the human society teaches one to love his country or family or personal self, but there is no information where to repose the love propensity so that everyone can become happy. That missing point is Krishna, and the Nectar of Devotion teaches us how to stimulate our original love for Krishna and how to be situated in that position where we can enjoy our blissful life. In the primary stage, a child loves his parents, then his brothers and sisters, and as he daily grows up, he begins to love his family, society, community, country, nation, or even the whole human society. But the loving propensity is not satisfied even by loving all human society. That loving propensity remains imperfectly fulfilled until we know who is the Supreme Beloved. Our love can be fully satisfied only when it is reposed in Krishna. This theme is the sum and substance of the Nectar of Devotion, which teaches us how to love Krishna in 5 different transcendental mellows. Thank you for letting me serve you. All glories to Śrila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.